Welcome, everyone. It's April the 2nd, 2019. The time is 6:30. And as we begin all of our city council meetings, we begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. If you join us. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ask our city clerk to do roll call.
Harrington.
Here.
McKinney.
Here.
O'Doherty.
Here.
Pierce.
Here.
Schuster.
Here.
Stalder. Here. Weaver.
Here.
Gabriel.
Here.
Shumway.
Here.
That's 9 present and 0 absent, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ask our Vice Mayor, Councillor Gabriel, if he would take us through any changes and setting of the agenda.
Thank you, Mayor. Council members, I would move that the following changes to the agenda be approved: to delete item number 10, replace with Resolution 2019-25, authorizing the submission of a proposal to host the WAM 2020 convention, and add an executive session regarding litigation, Wyoming Statute 16-4-405, lowercase a, Roman numeral 3.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded by Councillor Doherty. All in favor of these changes indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, now we'll move on to proclamations. And I have 2 that I'd like to read this evening. Yes.
That's okay. Mayor, if we could have the second portion of that to set the agenda as changed.
Okay, we didn't set the agenda, so go ahead and do that second motion to.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I would move that the agenda be set as changed.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded by Councillor Pierce. All in favor of the setting the agenda indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Now on to proclamations. The first proclamation I'm going to read to you is one that we've received, and it goes as such. Whereas sarcoidosis, once thought to be a rare inflammatory and/or autoimmune disease that can affect any organ in the body and causes an overreaction of the immune system, resulting in damage to the body's own tissues, and whereas sarcoidosis is known to affect people of all ages, races, and genders, and whereas sarcoidosis most commonly affects the lungs and lymph nodes, but can also affect the skin, eyes, liver, salivary glands, sinuses, kidneys, heart, muscles, bones, and brain and nervous system. And whereas sarcoidosis is often misdiagnosed and underdiagnosed because it is many times a diagnosis of exclusion, as there are no biomarkers or specific tests for sarcoidosis. The exact cause of sarcoidosis is still not known, and whereas numerous diagnostic tests and ongoing clinical observations and/or management lends to high economic burden of this disease, including a great cost to the patient and their family, and whereas there is still much to learn about sarcoidosis, but discovering the cause, improving treatment, and finding a cure are attainable. Goals with increased research, awareness, and education efforts, and whereas it is important to recognize the people of the great state of Wyoming who demonstrate great courage and determination in their efforts to cope with the disease, as well as their family members and caregivers who engage in efforts to promote awareness, improve treatment, and support for those affected by sarcoidosis. Now therefore, I, Joe Shumway, acting as mayor and president of the governing body of the city of Laramie, do hereby proclaim the month of April 2019 to be Sarcoidosis Awareness Month. We call upon the citizens, medical facilities, and businesses to increase their awareness of sarcoidosis and consider supporting research efforts to aid in finding a cure and improving treatment for this rare disease. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the official seal of the city to be affixed on the 2nd day of April 2019 and signed by me. The individual that is sent, that's asked us to read it, is actually in Level Wyoming right now at a city council meeting doing this. Also, the county commissioners are going to be reading a similar proclamation. I think it's important that we become aware of this disease and do what we can for recognition and do what we can to help with this. All right, yes.
Mayor, Ron Salyer
Yes.
asked if we could do a council picture holding the proclamation.
Absolutely. If everybody can join us in the middle, we'll do a picture. Got it? Thank you. And then I'll leave this for you to mail to them.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Okay.
At least we'll have good laughs in that one.
We have another proclamation, and it goes as follows. Whereas the city of Laramie residents are proud of their community and enjoy the natural beauty of Laramie, and whereas Laramie and its surrounding area is also appreciated and enjoyed by everyone who visits here, and whereas the community has recognized the benefits of maintaining the pristine quality of Laramie, and whereas cleaning up the city safeguards health, reduces potential fire hazards, enhances the attractiveness of Laramie, and stimulates public pride, and whereas a clean community is more attractive to residents and visitors to live, work, and play in, and whereas the Laramie Community Cleanup was initiated by the Chamber of Commerce along with the Beautification Committee, and whereas the Laramie Community Cleanup Day is an opportunity for citizens and organizations to express community pride and bring people together for a common purpose to help beautify Laramie for both visitors and residents, and whereas, in addition, the City of Laramie, the Beautification Committee, the Laramie Chamber Business Alliance, the Laramie Boomerang, and many others are proud to sponsor this event. Now therefore, I, Joe Shumway, acting as mayor and president of the governing body of the City of Laramie, do hereby proclaim May 4th, 2019 as Community Cleanup Day throughout the city, and encourage individuals, families, neighbors, and friends of Laramie to come out and work together to join the citywide cleanup with the central meeting point of City Hall, 406 Ivinson Avenue, starting at 7:30 a.m. and enjoy lunch together behind Fire Station Number 1 beginning at 11 a.m. In witness thereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the official seal of the city to be affixed on the second day of April 2019. I'd like to ask our Code Enforcement Officer Brian Forster if he'd come forward and if you'd say something to us, we'd appreciate that and receive this.
Okay, Honorable Mayor and Council, I'd like to thank you once again for giving me the opportunity to lead this event. It's a nice event, it's a lot of fun, and we get a lot of work done. But mostly I'd like to thank the citizens of Laramie who really make this possible. They get the job done, and they make it a success. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. If you'll come and receive this.
Do we want a picture?
Yeah, we want
Do
a
you want a
picture of
picture?
Brian.
Why don't you hold this, Brian, and then...
I don't know.
Get that out of the way.
You have to look at the camera, Brian.
Leave
I'll
everybody.
let Jane go front.
Okay. Where would you like to be?
I'll be over here by that gate.
About there.
We're switching it up.
Okay.
All right. Oh, Jane, if you could move over just a tad to the other
Oh.
way. Other way.
His bald head walking.
I was purposefully.
All right. Now, Paul, can you scoot to your left? Just. Oh, well, that works probably too. There you go.
Whichever.
That works. All right. Thank
Great.
you.
Thank you, Brian.
Thanks, Brian.
Thanks, Brian.
You know, Klaus was the one who manned the grill on that day.
Yeah, you, also you,
Yeah.
and me, and
I
the council.
doing
Somebody's
Yeah.
got to take over the
We'll,
grill.
we'll be there.
Figure it out.
We gotta get
council-
more
The
grillers.
city really supports us, we appreciate that. It's a great day for the city, so we're looking forward to that.
Yeah, it's fun. Station 3.
All right. No public hearings, and so there is a public hearing. Okay. Do you want to read the notice of the public hearing then?
Absolutely. Notice is hereby given that the City Council will hold the following public hearing at 6:30 PM on April 2nd, 2019, in the City Council Chambers, Laramie City Hall, 406 Ivinson Avenue, Laramie, Wyoming, to take public comments or protests on the following: Original Ordinance Number 1996, amending LMC Chapter 15.14.060.E2D, Roman numeral 4, and 15.18.010.A.2 of the Unified Development Code to allow for roads to be constructed based upon engineering, design, principles, and practices. All information relative to this matter is available for review at the City of Laramie City Clerk's office at 406 Ivinson Avenue, Laramie, Wyoming. Anyone wishing to be heard should be present or may be represented by his or her agent at the meeting.
Thank you. So at this time, is there anyone that would like to speak for or against this item that's on the public hearing that we're considering at this time? Seeing none, we'll go to announcements. We have some announcements.
Mayor, we have two. The first is from Public Works.
Okay.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, City Council. In February this year at the Wyoming Engineering Society Convention in Cheyenne, the UPRR Overpass Project, also known as the Harney Street Bridge, won the title of Project of the Year. During that conference, WYDOT, City of Laramie Engineers, and Triojo Corporation, who's based in Laramie, were all recognized for their contribution to the project. A couple of weeks ago, this plaque arrived in my office. It says the Wyoming Engineering Society Presidential Project Award for 2018 Grand Prize Engineering Category, Laramie Streets UPRR Overpass Section. As you know, this was a WYDOT-led project, but city staff played a large role in making it a success. The staff members in the engineering division are City Engineer Eric Japp, Civil Engineer Eric Milliken, Civil Engineer William Winkler, Public Works Inspector Tony Shiflett, Engineering Technician Karen Tangeman. I'd like to specifically call out two staff members that spent a substantial amount of time on the project and were instrumental in its success, and they're here tonight. William Winkler, who you all probably know, was the city liaison and helped coordinate the project needs with other agencies. And Tony Shiflett, who you guys may not know, he's our boots on the ground, out in the field guy, rain or snow, he's there. He coordinated with WYDOT and the contractor on all underground utility work and inspections, which included city water and sewer services. This was a $23 million project. It probably affects every resident in Laramie, and so I thought it was important that we recognize city staff on their efforts and bring it to your attention. Thank you.
Thank you, Brooks. Obviously, a great award. You don't get better than the grand prize, so this is good.
Mayor, would
Nancy?
you like a picture with our staff?
I'd love to. Brooks, would you bring Tony and William up and we'll do a picture? We're becoming...
Is this going to be
Do you
amazing?
have enough memory on your phone for all this?
Can't you just like Photoshop these
picture. Get Brooks has
people?
got
It's like, put them in there.
Brooks!
it. Come on up.
Yes.
Picture time.
Oh, I don't know.
Moving
Taller
around.
I kind of like to just stick to the.
Why don't we bring Aaron up
To
here
the
in front of us
system.
this time? We'll
That's
pick
what
on
we
her
do.
just a little bit.
Tall, next to the tall.
Everybody else? Right here, everybody can see the camera.
Okay.
All right. Say cheese. Well, Paul, can you move to your left?
To the right?
To your left.
Okay.
See if I can adjust.
Diminishing
Nope,
returns
and I lose
here.
Jane.
It's okay.
All right, I think we're good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Everything else?
Yeah.
Round of applause for the individual.
Most likely to be grumpy, Councillor Weaver.
Let me read that.
Okay, we have a second
We
announcement.
do from the Recreation Division.
Good. Ms. Karen.
Just briefly, I wanted to make sure that you all were aware we are having our youth basketball tournament this weekend. It should be exciting up at the Recreation Center and all over town. We have, I just did a quick calculation, 71 teams, and probably about 1,500 people will be visiting town this weekend for the tournament for kids who are 4th through 8th grade. So look forward to seeing them all. And one other quick thing, since you have an item on your agenda for the Laramie Public Art Coalition on the consent agenda, Michelle Visser, who is our new director, joined us this evening, and I just want to have her stand up so you all know who she is. Very good. Okay, thank you.
Right. Jody, how many states are doing it this year?
Gosh, I don't know that I've looked at the states. We
Okay.
always get Nebraska, Colorado, and Wyoming. Sometimes we get them as far away as Utah, but not very often. So I'm pretty sure we have those 3 states represented, but yeah, 71 teams.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Now, are there any, is that all the announcements? Okay, any disclosures by anyone on the council with any conflicts of interest or other disclosures? Okay, we'll now move on to approval of the consent agenda. Vice Mayor Gabriel.
Let me find it right here.
It's at the very bottom. I think to turn the page for you.
Yes. Thank you, Mayor. I would move that the consent agenda be approved and that each specific action on the consent agenda be approved as indicated.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded by Councillor Pierce. Roll call.
Harrington.
Yes.
McKinney.
Yes.
O'Doherty.
Yes.
Pierce.
Yes.
Schuster.
Yes.
Stalder. Beaver.
Yes.
Gabriel.
Yes.
Shumway.
Yes.
That's 9 yeses and 0 nos, Your Honor.
Okay, so that's been approved unanimously. We now move to the regular agenda. The first item on the regular agenda is item number 10. And Councillor Stalter, if you'd introduce this.
I move to reconsider the motion to approve Resolution 2019-25, authorizing the submission of a proposal to host the WAM 2020 convention, and authorize the mayor and clerk to sign.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. City Manager Jordan.
Good evening, council. I know you did consider this just in the last few weeks, so I won't go into any detail. I'll just be ready for questions. The only thing I would like to draw your attention to is, since you last considered this, we realized that last year, the council did pass a resolution putting in an early bid to host the conference this year. I apologize we didn't have that in your packet originally, but it is included in your packet this evening. That's Resolution 2018-39. The council passed that last year on the 15th day of May. The intention being to request WAM to consider Laramie as the site of the 2020 convention a year ahead of time, because 2020 coincides with the 100-year anniversary of women's suffrage, as proclaimed by Governor Meade in his proclamation of June 2016. So we have added that to the packet. That's the only new material. Well, I guess I should say we also did include a copy of the draft that we had working in the event you did want to put in a bid to host the conference. So you have the working draft in front of you as well. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Right now, we're just having questions about the reconsideration after that vote, and if it's successful to bring back on the floor, then we'll go into any other discussions or amendments or whatever. But this is just on reconsideration of this item to bring it back for us to consider. Anything for our city manager regarding this? Okay. And that's an item that is only, do we go to the audience or to anyone here on reconsideration? Anyone here that'd like to make comments regarding this reconsideration for the 2020 summer conference to be held somewhere in the state, and this is our bid to put forward our application? Seeing none, any comments or any questions from the council before we go to the vote on reconsideration? Roll call.
McKinney,
Yes.
O'Doherty,
Yes.
Pierce,
No.
Schuster,
Yes.
Stalder,
Yes.
Harrington,
Yes.
Weaver,
No.
Gabriel,
Yes.
Shumway.
Yes.
That's 7 yeses and 2 nos, Your Honor.
Okay, so that motion passes. So now we're going to the resolution, which, do we have a number for this?
Yes.
We do.
We do, and that's to be introduced, I think, by Councillor Stalter.
Just this part?
I think you just read that.
I just read
Oh, then I don't know.
it. Is it just this top part?
It'll say I move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I move to reconsider the motion to approve Resolution 2019-25, authorizing the submission of a proposal to host the WHAM 2020 convention and authorize the mayor and clerk to sign.
Yes, just a second.
So this time, instead of reconsidering, just to approve
To approve.
resolution.
I move to consider the motion. Do I need to read the whole thing again?
As long as everyone understands that
Everybody
the,
understand that we're not reconsidering, that's been done, but now we're moving to,
to approve resolution
I move to.
Everybody okay with that?
2019-25.
I move to approve.
is there a second?
I'll second again.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Discussion. Councillor Stalder.
The reason that I voted no on this in the last meeting was I was unclear on what the tourism board would commit to funding. And after speaking with members of the tourism board on the economic impact that it would have, I think it's something we should definitely put in a bid for.
And all of us received a letter regarding that. Anyone else? Yes, Councillor Harrington.
So I'm still, I'm gonna vote in favor of this, but I'm still unsure, I just want to express this, that I'm still unsure of WHAM's ability to represent Laramie effectively, or other large cities in Wyoming. Given that there is a new director at WHAM, I do view hosting the conference in 2020 as an opportunity for our council to really form WHAM into what we hope it to be. So I'm going to support it because I think that's a unique opportunity that we won't have again. With that, I also think it's significant to ask all of council to really actively participate, because I think the more voices we have in those rooms and those conversations, the more effective WHAM can be. Again, I'm still unsure of WHAM's effectiveness overall, but I think as far as the conference is concerned, that's where I...
Speaking to your concern, I had a chance to have a conversation with the executive director of WHAM, and he has invited us to invite him or their staff to come and have a work session where they give us kind of a, what they bring to the table for us to consider. And so we'll, when we have, a chance to work that into our work session, we'll try to invite them so that they can bring us up to speed where they are. And Rick Kaysen, that was the former director. We have a new person that begins, I think, within a few weeks, and that person was the former director of the Nevada League of Cities in Nevada, and he is a resident, or was a resident of Wyoming, excited to come back and lead WHAM. And so we have an opportunity to, turn a page and see how things are going forward. Any other discussions regarding this? Councillor Gabriel.
Thank you, Mayor.
Gabriel.
I just wanted to express my appreciation to Councillor Stalder for bringing this back up. After the vote, I received several emails from the Motel and Restaurant Association, also from the Tourism Board, about how important this is to those industries in Laramie and Albany County. And I think it's important that we support this WHAM proposal, and it'll be very positive reinforcement to those businesses if we are successful in obtaining the 2020 convention.
Thank you. Also, speaking to this, the Rick Kaysen extended the deadline to everyone in the state of Wyoming, all cities in the state of Wyoming, so we would have time under this new deadline to submit our proposals should this be successful. Anyone else? Councilor Doherty and then Councilor Schuster.
I'm trying to find the original numbers. I thought were more like 45,000,
Up to
45,000, which is why I voted against it. Now we're saying up to 15,000, but that still doesn't add up to 15 plus 15,000 from the tourism board. What I'm concerned about is if it brings 150 per person into the community, if we're spending collectively 150 to bring those people into the community, is there really a advantage to the community? I mean, as opposed to bringing in people from out of state to show off Laramie, to bring in other municipalities that I think probably have more money than we do, to subsidize them. That's what my concern is. I can be convinced, but that's where I'm coming from.
Thank you. Councilor Schuster?
We have this one and we have another one. We have had the WHAM here before while I've been on council. And we did a good job. We filled a lot of motel rooms. And one of our jobs on city council is not so much to think about us, but what's going to help the city. What's really going to go on. Depending on how many groups we bring in here, we'll decide this. This weekend, we're doing our basketball tournament out at the rec center. If you've not seen this, you're going to be unbelievable how many kids are going to come from at least 3 different states, possibly 4. How many motel rooms we're going to fill up. We are going to have trouble to try to go out and eat this weekend. Every single restaurant they can find, including pizza places and any place somebody can sit down, we're going to struggle to find a place to eat this weekend. And I love it. Tourism brings in a huge amount of money to this city, whether it's from our state or whether it's from a tournament that a high school puts on or something like that. We put people in place here, and I will support it.
Thank you. Councilor Doherty?
So I'm not arguing that tourism doesn't bring in dollars. I'm arguing that bringing in a nonprofit that's going to pay nonprofit prices at the hotels, tax exempt, probably for the catering it was at UW when nonprofits came, tax exempt, lodging, tax exempt, meals. I don't think it's as good a value as, say, bringing in a basketball tournament. So it's, I'm not saying, I mean, a lot of what we got was just generally lodging, tourism's good for us. I get that, I'm all in favor. But this particular event, I'm not as excited about. But I could be convinced, but I just can't see how the math works.
Thank you. Anyone else? Councilor Weaver?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I wonder if we can organize, if this passes, if the council would consider organizing a infrastructure funding problems tour for the executive director of WHAM.
There you go.
Around the city so that we can talk about our need for better representation from that organization. I'd be very interested in being part of that. I'm going to reserve whether or not I decide to vote for this until I've heard some more discussion. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. City Manager Jordan?
Mayor, I just wanted to confirm, or clarify, excuse me, the cost of hosting. WHAM estimates that the total cost for the host city ranges anywhere between, and this is cash, $11,750 to $41,200. That's based on actual expenses of host communities over the past few years. I would share with you that the last time we hosted this convention in 2012, and this was noted in the cover sheet as well, that because the council went out and solicited local donations, which is permissible under our agreement with WHAM if we're chosen as a host site, the council defrayed nearly all cost to the city. And so it was, I would guess, very close to a net zero cost to the city of Laramie to serve as the host community. If I could also, I want to piggyback on what Councilor Weaver just said, add a note about that. My opinion is, yeah, we may generate some sales tax revenue. We may have some lodging tax that is not paid because some of these entities are tax exempt, or the council members may choose to invoke their respective municipalities' tax exempt status. But I can tell you what we did with our 2012 conference and what we also did when we hosted Endow, what we do every time we host the Wyoming Business Council or any notable state agency or entity, is we take them on tours of Laramie, and I call them the off the beaten path tours. 90% of the people that visit this community, and it's almost 1 million people per year that come to University of Wyoming athletic and other events, they are on the beaten path, right? And what do you see in the beaten path of Laramie? You see amazing facilities like the new Gateway Center. You see just really the crowning jewels of Wyoming that the University of Wyoming has to offer in terms of capital infrastructure and facilities. We have taken so many tours off the beaten path to go to the part of Laramie that most visitors never see, and had some really resounding success with that. I could tell you about 6 years ago, we hosted a business council meeting here, and one of the business council members actually said to me on the bus tour, "Wow, I didn't know Laramie looked like this." Basically what she meant is, I didn't know that you had people that are challenged, that aren't wealthy, that don't live in the big houses on the ridge. So it was really an opportunity to showcase the unique difficulties that Laramie faces. We're so rich, in so many ways, and then in other ways we're really kind of poor, if you want, or we're needing more. So I really see it as an opportunity to educate our 98 sister cities about the unique circumstances that Laramie has and help them see beyond the millions and millions of dollars of appropriation that have gone to the University of Wyoming campus in the last decade, but don't necessarily create a return in our community and don't alleviate our need. So.
Thank you. Any other comments? Councillor Weaver.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think it's a testament to the city manager's ability and experience to turn a snarky comment from a grumpy council member into something constructive for us to consider. It's a humbling moment, of which I have had many and no doubt will, but I'll say this. I can be persuaded by the argument that there are some beneficial impacts to the city of Laramie for this, and I might be willing to change my vote on that basis. But I just want to reiterate how important I think it is for the council to have some very real conversations with these folks. You'll recall that I shared a story with the council about where our legislative contact person for that organization, after a series of prioritizing legislation, was a no-show for one of our community legislators at an important meeting, and that bill didn't go forward. And that's just one example of where I think the organization has let us down. And so I think it's important when we talk about hosting them and a continued relationship with them, that we acknowledge that there's some strain on that relationship and some deep skepticism about our faith, or at least in this council member's view, about what they can and intend to do for us. And I understand that there's some new personnel there and people deserve a chance, but it can't be separated from the existing context of we've got some problems with the way things have gone. The executive director is in a position to do a lot of things, but the overall governing structure of WHAM hasn't changed. And the way it's made up and who dominates the conversation, that structure hasn't changed. And that's something we need to have some serious conversations about. That said, Mr. Mayor, I'll change my vote, because although I'm skeptical of WHAM, I do support Laramie. I hope this is going to be beneficial to our community, and I hope that in the future, WHAM can do a better job of representing this community in Cheyenne. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Stalder.
This question's for the city manager. It says in the packet here the banquet would be held in the Gateway Center. You just mentioned showcasing some of our awesome off the beaten path venues. Is there a way that we could maybe support our local businesses more by having them host that event?
Through you, Mayor, Councilmember Stelter, I think the answer is clearly yes. I would point out that there are two kind of keynote events at any WHAM annual event, and that is the welcome reception and then the banquet. We thought the banquet at the Gateway made sense, and we do have a placeholder on these particular dates if council chooses to go that direction, but the reason is because they cater there as well, and it has the capacity to hold everybody. But we did want to showcase one of our local facilities, which is the Ivinson Mansion and the new Alice Hardy Stevens Center, newly renovated Alice Hardy Stevens Center, as part of the welcome reception. And then you'll know, and bear in mind, this is draft. I mean, the intention is we would like 3 of you to serve on the planning committee. But we did try to identify tours, whether walking, self-guided, or guided tours, that would showcase some of our local things, so to speak, local businesses. So, yeah, I think the answer is yes, we can change from the Gateway.
Doesn't matter.
But there's a reason we kind of looked there, so. Thank you.
Thank you. I will say this, I've had conversations now with several individuals, of course, Wham being one of them, and their executive director. We have their attention. They are now listening about our concerns about large cities and the needs that large cities have in regards to being underrepresented with the 99 communities where there's large cities seem to take it back, just by sheer numbers. We don't have a apportionment like they do in the House of Representatives. We simply are one of 99. And I think they are going to address this. They have indicated that they would. They've offered to come and have a listening session and a session where they can show the things that they bring to the table for us that benefit the city, that would, that they feel like would make sense to our contribution to WHAM, and how they can, be our eyes and ears and all the different legislative issues that come before them and before us. So they've indicated that they're very interested in making sure that our concerns are listened to. I believe that, that we're going to see some positive things come of this reconsideration, should this be successful. Even if it's not successful, I think we have their attention, which is a good thing. And again, I want to thank those that came forward with this to continue this conversation, because it's an important thing for us to consider, in my opinion. Okay, anything else from the City Council before we go to the Councilor Pierce?
So, just to be clear, I'm not going to change my vote. I've waited long enough. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay, thank you.
How much longer do we have to wait?
Is there anyone in the audience who would like to make comments regarding this item before us? Okay, back to the council for any final thoughts? Roll call.
Stalder,
Yes.
Harrington,
Yes.
Pierce,
No.
McKinney,
Yes.
O'Doherty,
Yes.
Schuster,
Yes.
Weaver,
Yes.
Gabriel,
Yes.
Shumway.
Yes.
That's 8 yeses and 1 no, Your Honor.
Okay, that item passes, thank you. Go now to item number 11, Councilor Harrington.
Thank you, Mayor. I move to approve an amendment to the Municipal Operations Center North Campus Project Professional Service Agreement with Plan 1 Architects for an amount not to exceed of $336,444, and to add contingency to include travel and reimbursables of $46,879 in the total amount of $383,323.
Thank you. Mr. Webb.
Honorable Mayor.
Second.
Oh, I'm sorry. We have a second. Second is by Councilor Gabriel. So,
Good job,
sorry. Mr. Webb.
Honorable Mayor, City Council, Plan 1 Architect is the firm that has been working on the design out at the Municipal Operations Center North Campus. We've requested some changes through the design, maybe some additions, if you will. A lot of these changes are designed to reduce our long-term operating costs out at the facility. Some energy efficiencies to be added in are replacing all the exterior doors and windows. Some of those are very old, as you can imagine. Replacing all the HVAC systems with included centralized control units for those. New roofing with increased insulation on the roof to reduce heat loss from the buildings. Other changes include facade design, entry location, design changes. These are put in place to meet some city UDC regulations, and also some ADA access compliant issues. The other kind of big thing we need to get in the design out there is the water line loop that goes through the facility, so that we can attach in our fire suppression systems and fire hydrants to make the buildings safe. Any questions?
Any questions? Yes, Councillor Stalder.
Is it normal for them to submit a bid without contingencies? I thought that was part of a
Yeah,
normal
it's
bid.
different.
Well, Mayor, Councillor Stadler, there was, in the original contract, they asked for, part of it was travel and reimbursement costs. We didn't have that in there, so we're cleaning it up now with adding the contingency in to have that in there going forward. It wasn't, we didn't put it in the original contract.
Was before my,
Go ahead.
sorry.
Anything else?
This was before my time on council, but I think there was another change order of about 100, I can't remember the exact date, for the same thing late last year. Is this normal to have this many change orders and additional costs?
So, Honorable Mayor, City Councilor Stadler, on December 4th, we actually entered into our first contract with Plan 1. Prior to that, Plan 1 was working for Ascent. We were working as a team. Our contract was with Ascent, and Plan 1 was working under Ascent's contract. As we were approaching the end of design, it was more advantageous for the city to split those up and give them their separate contract as we were moving into the bidding phase and then into the construction phase, to have them as an owner rep as we moved into that phase, and then do some construction management as we went along. So it wasn't necessarily a change order, that was their original contract, was on December 4th.
Councillor Weaver.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Question for staff. So we've updated the plans, and that's driving the need for this amendment for some energy efficiencies, and it's listed out there in the cover sheet and also in the agreement. Do we have a rough idea of how much that's going to save the city over the lifetime of the use of the building? To maybe give the council a sense of some balance here in terms of, well, we may be amending budget-wise now, but what we're looking at is some long-term energy efficiency savings, which seems to be an easy conclusion to make from this. Do we have a rough idea of what we're trying to save?
Honorable Mayor, Councilor
Mr. Webb, I know that's kind of a...
Yeah.
Sorry, Mr. Mayor.
And, I mean, I can't give you an exact number. I can tell you the design costs that we have now are less than 10% of the design costs are less than 10% of the estimated total cost of the project, which we're happy with, which is good. The energy efficiencies, exactly what those paybacks are, I don't have any idea, but it makes sense that if we're gonna be in that building for 30, 40, 50 years, putting in those energy efficient things up front to keep down those ongoing operating costs makes sense, right? That's why we're doing it. We could probably add to their contract to evaluate that.
Right.
We could hire someone else to evaluate that. But at this point, we just figure, you add those in over 30, 40, 50 years, it's those efficiencies gotta pay out.
Right. All right. Mr. Mayor.
City Manager.
Mayor, I will just say for the council and Councilor Weaver, this is my fault. I asked for this additional analysis. Malia certainly agrees with me, as does Brooks. I mean, there's no difference of agreement amongst staff, but Brooks said it very clearly. We're adding a lot of square feet of office and other mechanical space and shops that we currently do not have in our building inventory. And I do think it's really important that we try to lower those costs of ownership over time. So if you would like us, and I will say as well, it certainly coincides in my understanding of council's goals, not only this council, but going back probably every council for 6 years, coincides with your goals for us to look at those things. Maybe as part of lowering the ongoing costs of operation, and maybe for other reasons. But from my standpoint, this is just a good business decision that we do a little more analysis here. So it's my fault we're adding this, but I believe that we were doing it with probably the blessing of council and to keep our costs lower over time. If you'd like us to have them try to estimate those return on investment, we could, but I suspect we would have to pay for it.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, go ahead, Councilor
I
Weaver.
appreciate the answers there. The reason I wanted to ask those questions and have this little bit of discussion here is I think residents in Laramie can accept an increase on the front end if we have high confidence that over the long-term use of that public works facility, we're going to recoup those dollars through energy efficiencies. But I think it's appropriate to, for the record state, yeah, that is our analysis. We may not have exact figures, but it doesn't take a genius to figure out that over a 30 or 40 use of a building, those energy efficiencies can justify adjustments to the contract on the front end. And it sounds like we're pretty confident, and common sense would dictate that that's likely to be the case. So I think that's an acceptable use on the front end of those tax revenues. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments from the city council? Thank you, Rex. Anyone from the audience who would like to make comments regarding these changes? Back to council, any comments before we go to the vote? Roll call.
Weaver,
Yes.
Harrington,
Yes.
Schuster,
Yes.
McKinney,
Yes.
Doherty,
Yes.
Pierce,
Yes.
Stalder,
Yes.
Gabriel,
Yes.
Shumway.
Yes.
That's 9 yeses and 0 nos, Your Honor.
Okay, that item passes unanimously. Item number 12, Councilor O'Doherty.
I move to approve change order number 3 for the Turner Track Detention Pond project in the amount of $1,609,782.28 with a contingency of $160,978.22 for a total amount of $1,770,760.50, and amend the fiscal year 2018-2019 Major Capital Construction Fund budget for $1,119,511, funded by the Crystal Court property sale, $532,849, and cash reserves, $1,237,912, and transfer the reserve grant match for a total project budget of $1,770,761.00.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded by Councilor Pierce. City Engineer Eric Japp.
Honorable Mayor, thank you for that. That was a little bit of a mouthful there. Last year, the city bid 2 ponds in the Turner Track. The Boulder Beach Pond was built last year. Many of you remember that going on. That was the construction across from the high school. The change order before you tonight is for the second pond, which was bid at the same time, or I'll call the Regency Pond as it comes forward tonight. The Regency Pond is identified as the #1 priority project in our draft stormwater improvement list for the citywide storm drainage master plan. This is based on many factors that's actually going to be discussed in an upcoming work session with councilors, but the numbers, when they are tallied, show that this pond has the best benefit to the city of Laramie in regard to storm drainage. The Regency pond will be constructed behind the City Rec Center between the Cul-De-Sac at Regency Drive and the high school. This is shown on the map that was attached as part of your packet. I want to let you know that this pond will not look like many of the detention ponds that we do have around Laramie. And it was actually designed with a recreational aspect. And really, most people, once the project is complete, won't even realize that it is a pond. The channel bottom and the bottom of the pond, many times you see concrete in a lot of our ponds. This will actually have a geogrid that will allow the grass to grow up through it, so you really won't see that trickle channel as it goes through. There's some drop structures where it comes in. These aren't going to look like a concrete irrigation drop structure where you see a lot of engineers design stuff, but rather it's actually going to be more natural, river-like. It's going to be constructed with rock, precast concrete that looks like rock. So, it looks really good. And I encourage you to go check out the Boulder Beach Pond if you haven't already, as many of the construction techniques and everything that are going to be applied to this pond we're done there, and we're actually making a couple improvements as we move forward with this one. So it allows for the Regency Pond not just to be a detention pond, but a place for everyone to recreate as well. The soil excavated will also provide a benefit, as it'll be used to make the lots along Boulder Drive between the high school and the rec center a more suitable building site. If you've never really looked at that, it actually drops quite a bit from the road there. So the first location that some of the soil will be able to build that up, so that'll be a better building area. And then the remaining soil will be stockpiled nearby for the future Bill Nye project. We've been working with YDOT on that, and they're gonna need some fill material. Also, as part of this project, we're gonna be building 2 multi-use pathways. One will be along Boulder Drive from the high school to Garfield Street. The second will run from the pond, behind the pond, from the Regency Cul-De-Sac to an existing tie-in that already exists at the high school. Both these paths have been needed since the high school is open, and we've been looking for ways to get those in, and we've had several requests, both by students and parents and the high school, as we get a lot of bike use and pedestrian use, and the sidewalk really can't handle it. So with that, I can answer any questions you have regarding this project.
Thank you. Any questions from the council? Thank you, Mr. Japp. Any comments or questions from the audience? Back to the council, any comments? Councilor O'Doherty.
I think this detention pond is really needed in that side of town, and I'm really excited that there's a recreation component because I think it lends itself well to that. So I applaud the staff for putting this together.
Any other comments? Roll call.
McKinney,
Yes.
O'Doherty,
Yes.
Stalder,
Yes.
Harrington,
Yes.
Pierce,
Yes.
Schuster,
Yes.
Weaver,
Yes.
Gabriel,
Yes.
Shumway.
Yes.
That's 9 yeses and 0 nos, Your Honor.
Okay, that item number 12 passes unanimously. Item number 13, Councilor Schuster.
Thank you. I'm going to read the title of this because it doesn't refer to anything in the motion on what we're actually doing. So the title is Original Ordinance Number 1996, amending the LMC Chapter 15.14.060 E2 small d, Roman numeral 4, 15.18.100 A2 of the Unified Development Code to allow for roads to be constructed based upon an engineering designs, principles, and practices. I move to approve original ordinance number 1996 as recommended by the Planning Commission on second reading in accordance with the findings of facts and conclusions of law, and noting that a public hearing was held on April 2nd, 2019.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded by Councilor Weaver. Any questions from the councilor to Mr. Teeny? Would you like to make some comments?
Mayor and council, the council was made aware of some comments the member Pierce had provided. City staff responded to those. One of the comments had a comment about some of the language that was located in the table and in the title. You have all been handed out the sheet. I've proposed an amendment that I think will line those 2 pieces of language up. I think it's appropriate to do such if you feel the same. Really, all we're doing is being consistent with the wording that we're using within the title as well as within the table. And so I'd be happy to answer any questions about the actual amendment if you do have those. Otherwise, I do know the applicant is available also if you have any questions for him. So.
Any questions? Is there anyone that would like to move to make the amendment?
I can if you'd like me to.
Would you, Councilor Schuster?
I'd like to make an amendment, TA-18-03, original ordinance number 1996, amending the LMC Chapter 15-14-060 E2 small d, Roman numeral 4, and 15.18.010 A2 to the Unified Development Code to allow roads to be constructed based upon engineering designs and principles and practices.
Do you want to make the motion for the amendment, which is the bottom?
Okay, I'm sorry. I move to amend original motion number 1996, amending the title of LMC 15.18.010.A.2 from minimum right-of-way widths and construction widths to minimum right-of-way widths and roadway widths.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded by Councilor O'Doherty. Now, any questions regarding this amendment from anyone on council?
I don't have any
Councillor
questions.
Pierce.
I don't have any questions. I just appreciate your efforts and time you took answering my many questions. So thank you.
All right.
Welcome.
I think you saved us a lot of time also by submitting those questions early and getting all that back to the council before this meeting. Thank you, Councilor Pierce. Any other questions? Anyone from the audience who would like to make comments regarding this motion, this amendment to the motion? Yes.
Honorable Mayor, Council, I don't have any other comments other than, that we're here if you need to answer any more questions. I too appreciated the feedback that we got back from city. That was very fast. Appreciate that.
Anything for Mr. Coffey from anybody? Thank you. Anyone else from the audience? Back to the council, any comments? Roll call.
Harrington.
Yes.
McKinney.
Yes.
O'Doherty.
Yes.
Pierce.
Yes.
Schuster.
Yes.
Stalder.
Yes.
Weaver.
Yes.
Gabriel.
Yes.
Shumway.
Yes.
That's 9 yeses and 0 nos, Your Honor.
Okay, so the amendment to this motion passes. Now we'll go back to the motion. Any further questions, comments from the council? Any comments from the audience? Questions? In fact, the council one more chance. Roll call on the motion as amended.
Pierce.
Yes.
Weaver.
Yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
O'Doherty.
Yes.
McKinney.
Yes.
Stalder.
Yes.
Schuster.
Yes.
Gabriel.
Yes.
Shumway.
Yes.
That's 9 yeses and 0 nos, Your Honor.
Okay, so now that passes unanimously. On to item number 14, Vice Mayor Gabriel.
Thank you, Mayor. The motion that the council move to appoint Councillor Harrington as the official voting delegate, Councillor O'Doherty as the official alternative voting delegate for the 2019 WHAM Summer Convention Business Meeting.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded by Councillor Pierce. So this is the summer meeting in Sheridan. Any questions or comments from the council regarding this? Anything from the audience? Okay, no comments. Let's go to the vote.
O'Doherty.
Yes.
Schuster.
Yes.
Stalder.
Yes.
Weaver.
Yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
McKinney.
Yes.
Pierce.
Yes.
Gabriel.
Yes.
Shumway.
Yes.
That's 9 yeses and 0 nos, Your Honor.
Okay. Thank you. That passes unanimously. Now item number 15, Vice Mayor Gabriel again.
I would move to approve Resolution 2019-30 supporting payment in lieu of taxes for state-owned properties and authorize the mayor and clerk to sign.
Is there a second?
Second.
There's a second from Councillor Charles, help me. McKinney. My mind went blank, sorry, Charles. Okay, did you want to bring up anything on this? This is one that we put forward last year, didn't get a lot of traction, but we're trying to keep it in front of their minds. Anyone else want to make comments regarding this? We're going to have several of these. Councilor
A
Harrington.
question. Is there, Mayor, is there possibly a list of other communities that may benefit in the same sort of regard that the city of Laramie would from payment in lieu of taxes that we could potentially
Yeah, there are some,
encourage to
like Cheyenne.
to use this same sort of mechanism?
Mayor and Councilmember Harrington, I'm sure there is a list somewhere. We all kind of intuitively know it. It goes back to our history, right? When the legislature decided to give all the major communities some aspect of state government. Somebody got the prison, somebody got the university, somebody got the state hospital, somebody got the Capitol. So there's certainly a list of potential advocacy partners that could benefit from payment in lieu of taxes legislation, not just Laramie.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks, Mayor.
Good. Any other? Councilor Pierce.
So I'm wondering how many times in the past have we asked for this?
Mayor and council, I believe last year was the first time we had formalized it into a resolution. I can tell you, I've been talking about it since before I was city manager with previous city managers. However, I cannot tell you if that ever made it to the WHAM level. I know there have been many conversations over the years, some more serious than others, with various legislators. Again, going back to probably 2001 or 2, I remember conversations with former Representative Warren, but they were much more informal. Our formal attempt was really last year, I think, the first time.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor Harrington?
I think on the subject, when you were talking about Laramie may have Wham's ear at this point because we've had these conversations, I feel like this may be a significant opportunity for us to, I think this might be the vehicle we use to get the things that we need from Wham to make their service more productive for us. And I certainly support this being one of those sort of flagship things that we need from Wham.
Okay. Now, remember, as a voting delegate, you're just going to be one of the...
I know it.
This isn't...
I know it.
They are...
I will represent us all.
Anyone else want to make any questions or comments regarding this item for the... Anyone from the audience? Back to us again. Okay, let's vote on this item.
Harrington.
Yes.
McKinney.
Yes.
Pierce.
Yes.
Stalder.
Yes.
O'Doherty.
Yes.
Schuster.
Yes.
Weaver.
Yes.
Gabriel.
Yes.
Shumway.
Yes.
That's 9 yeses and 0 nos, Your Honor.
So that passes. Back to Councillor Gabriel.
I would move to approve Resolution 2019-31, supporting local air service as essential to Wyoming's prosperity, and authorize the mayor and clerk to sign.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded by Councillor Pierce. Any discussion? Anyone from the audience want to make comments regarding this? Council, can we have a vote on this?
Weaver.
Sorry.
Oh, go
Do you want to go ahead and make comments?
This is one that's gonna help the rest of the state more, and it's gonna help Laramie. I don't know if people know this. We have over our 10,000 boardings here at Laramie. So our money we receive is from the Federal Aeronautics Commission. Groups that have less than 10,000 boardings at their airport, which there are a lot of them across the entire state, benefit from this one. But in actual funding, we do not get much out of this one at all.
Okay, thank you. Further discussion? Okay, let's go to the vote.
Weaver.
Yes.
Stalder.
Yes.
Schuster.
Yes?
Pierce.
Yes.
O'Doherty.
Yes.
McKinney.
Yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
Gabriel.
Yes.
Shumway.
Yes.
That's 9 yeses and 0 nos, Your Honor.
Okay, so that item also passes unanimously. Councillor Gabriel?
Several more to go. I would move to approve Resolution 2019-32, supporting statewide anti-discrimination legislation, and authorize the mayor and clerk to sign.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded by Councillor Pierce. Discussion regarding this item. Anyone from the audience like to make comments? Council? Roll call?
Pierce.
Yes.
O'Doherty.
Yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
McKinney.
Yes.
Schuster.
Yes?
Stalder.
Yes.
Weaver.
Yes.
Gabriel.
Yes.
Shumway.
Yes.
That's 9 yeses and 0 nos, Your Honor.
That item passes unanimously. Councillor Gabriel?
Thank you. I would move to approve Resolution 2019-33, supporting greater financial independence and authority for Wyoming cities and towns, and authorize the mayor and clerk to sign.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded by Councillor Pierce. Do you want to give us a brief summary of this item?
I'd be happy to, Mayor. So we have passed this council probably a handful of times over the years, some version of this resolution. Essentially what it asks for is more independence and autonomy for local governments, cities and counties. Wyoming's state statutes are fairly restrictive and really don't grant much authority to local governments to raise revenue to support their services. By contrast, the state provides payments to local governments that support our basic services. So what this resolution does is just recite some of the national statistics that demonstrate that there's a very different way of doing things on a state and local level than we do in Wyoming, and ask that we consider allowing local governments the authority to, one, and when I say local governments, that would be you all, the governing body, the authority to directly levy taxes, to control the local rate of taxation, and the authority to allocate local tax revenue to municipal purposes and services. That definition comes from the National League of Cities and is the sort of gold standard definition of local control over finances. And it contains those three elements, kind of a three-legged test, if you will.
Any questions? Any comments from the council? Anything from the audience on this item? Back to the council. Roll call.
Stalder.
Yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
McKinney.
Yes.
O'Doherty.
Yes.
Schuster.
Yes.
Pierce.
Yes.
Weaver.
Yes.
Gabriel.
Yes.
Shumway.
Yes.
That's 9 yeses and 0 noes, Your Honor.
Okay, that passes unanimously. I think you have one more?
One more, our final one. I move to approve Resolution 2019-34, supporting municipal stormwater enterprise funds, and authorize the mayor and clerk to sign.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded by Councilor O'Doherty. Does the council want more explanation on enterprise funds for stormwater? Be clear on this. Okay. Any comments or questions from the council? Anything from the audience? Back to the council. Roll call.
McKinney.
Yes.
Weaver.
Yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
O'Doherty.
Yes.
Schuster.
Yes.
Pierce.
Yes.
Stalder.
Yes.
Gabriel.
Yes.
Shumway.
Yes.
That's 9 yeses and 0 noes, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. That passes unanimously. So these items will now go forward to the summer WAM conference in Sheridan, where we have our representatives who will be there to represent us, but also, to ask for consideration of this. Hopefully we can do some homework before that so that this is clear to everybody. Okay, let's move on to the next item, which is item number 16. Councilor Harrington.
Thank you, Mayor. I move to pass Resolution 2019-28, approving the nomination of Interfaith Good Samaritan for the 2019 WAM Community Hero Award, and authorize the mayor and clerk to sign.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded by Councilor Schuster. All right, anyone like to make comments or questions regarding this? Personally, I think it's a great opportunity for us to recognize a real leader in our community. Anything from the audience? Back to the council. Roll call.
Weaver.
Yes.
Stalder.
Yes.
Schuster.
Yes.
Pierce.
Yes.
O'Doherty.
Yes.
McKinney.
Yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
Gabriel.
Yes.
Shumway.
Yes.
That's 9 yeses and 0 noes, Your Honor.
Okay, that's unanimous. Now we move to item number 17, and that is Councilor Pierce.
Okay, I move to pass Resolution 2019-29, approving the nomination of Klaus Hansen for the distinction of WAM honorary member, and authorize the mayor and clerk to sign.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded by Councilor Schuster. Great opportunity for us. Any comments from anybody?
I think this is a great idea.
Good. Anyone else?
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, Councilor Weaver.
If former Councilor Hansen is given the distinction of being selected as an honorary member to WAM, is he then required to attend WAM meetings on a regular basis? Because it seems like Councilor Hansen has been to a lot of those over the years. And do we know if he's willing to do that?
The answer to that is no, he's not required to attend. He doesn't even have
Darn.
to show up to receive the distinction. But knowing Klaus Hansen, he'll probably be there.
Yeah, all right.
It's just a way for us to recognize his service and his dedication to not only the city of Laramie, but also to the state and to those people that he served with on the Wyoming Association of Municipalities. I think it's well-deserved. Anyone else want to make any comments regarding this? Thank you for making that motion, Councilor Pierce. Anyone from the audience? Back to council. Let's vote.
Harrington.
Yes.
Schuster.
Yes.
McKinney.
Yes.
Pierce.
Yes.
O'Doherty.
Yes.
Stalder.
Yes.
Weaver.
Yes.
Gabriel.
Yes.
Shumway.
Yes,
That's 9 yeses and 0 nos, Your Honor.
that's unanimous. Thank you. So that concludes our regular agenda items, but now we move to public comments on non-agenda items. Is there anyone here that would like to come forward, Mr. Greaser, and make comments to the council? And after you talk to us, would you please sign the thing so we can have a record? Thank you.
Sure will.
Mr. Greaser.
Mayor Shumway, councilors, I'm here tonight to talk about my most recent experience with the Traffic Commission. It was frustrating to say the least. I'm the owner of Basic Beginnings at 1474 North 19th. Last summer, we had a near disastrous accident where a guy was driving his motorcycle east on Reynolds. A car pulled out from 19th, and he had to lay his motorcycle down, ended up getting a concussion. Probably the reason that it happened is somebody was parked right off the corner where it was difficult to see around. So I asked the Traffic Commission to consider putting some yellow there to back people off that corner. The original meeting was set in September, and I attended the meeting along with Kelly Cooksey, who owns the apartment buildings on the east side of that intersection. When we got to the meeting, we found that the engineers had suggested what we thought was an excessive amount of yellow paint to keep people off that corner. Basically, they wanted to go about 150 feet in either direction. We thought that was way too much. We had a discussion with the Traffic Commission that day, and included in that discussion was a comment from Randy Griesbach from YDOT, who happened to be there, who said sometimes having some is better than having none. So in our discussions, we came to an agreement. Well, what both Kelly Cooksey and I thought was a common sense agreement, which was that they would put about 75 feet of yellow paint on my side of the street, about 4 car lengths, and they'd put 50 feet on her side of the intersection, because people turning right don't need that much room to look, and the cars on the other lane coming at them, so if they're turning left. That motion was moved, seconded, unanimously approved. Chairman Sinclair asked the engineers to make sure that it was done before winter. That was in September. About a month ago, I got a notice from the city that they were going to review this again at a Traffic Commission meeting. It happened to be on the day of the big storm, so they postponed it. I called in and said, well, why are we doing this? It's kind of been decided upon. I was told that it was not decided upon, that they thought it was sent back to the engineering office for further review. And that they hadn't met in 6 months, so they hadn't had a chance to approve the minutes. If they don't approve their own minutes, then they can't come to you for approval. So we went to the meeting. I asked the traffic commissioners to go with our original agreement and/or do nothing. What had happened in the meantime is that I'd asked my employees to move back that 75 feet for two reasons, just because better visibility, but second, so they weren't in the way when the city came to paint. That seems to have worked well, moving back that 75 feet. Haven't had any complaints either from my employees or from my clients there. There's really two busy times of the day, but mostly it happens at 8 a.m. when everybody's going to the junior high and they're also dropping their children off for me. Well, one other thing about the Traffic Commission meeting that morning is that Chairman Sinclair told us, we have to hurry, we've got lots of people here, and there were, and we've only got an hour. So I'm going to give everybody 3 minutes. So when I spoke, I asked them to honor our original agreement or do nothing and let me self-enforce with my employees. The engineers asked for much more restrictive yellow painting than we had agreed to originally, and the councillors did not take my request into consideration at all. I think that they understood that they were only going to vote on the engineers' recommendations, and that's what they did. So as of now, both sides of the street have quite a bit more paint than the original agreement, or will have. And I'm not here to ask you to do anything. I just want to tell you about my experience and ask you all to come out and have a look at it after it's painted. I'm sure it's going to be very visible because they've taken up probably an additional 3 to 4 spaces. That it's not that big a deal, but it is something to my employees. It's another few feet to walk. I don't know. We talked a little bit earlier about local control. Apparently they were offering the engineering guidelines, which may be used the same guidelines on Colfax Street in Denver, I don't know. It seems overkill on my corner. I noticed today that all the other Reynolds Street corners are about half the 75 feet that we originally agreed upon, and so probably a quarter of what they are going to paint. So I would ask you to come by and have a look at that when it gets painted and see what you think, because it seems to be the opinion of the Traffic Commission and the engineering folks that it's either all or nothing. And I don't think that was the best solution in my case. And that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Greaser. Is there anyone else that would like to make public comments regarding any item that's not on the agenda? Okay, seeing none. Is there anyone on council that would like to make recommendations for future work sessions? Councillor Pierce.
Wham.
Okay, good. I'm glad you brought that forward.
Mayor and Council, Councilor Pierce, you requested this 2 months ago. It's already on your list.
I did?
You did, yeah, you did. And I,
Meeting.
the reason it hasn't occurred yet, just so you know, is because I was waiting for a new director to be hired. I thought this would be an opportunity when they did hire a director to invite that new person over as a meet and greet, but also to ask your questions. So I have reached out to the new director of WHAM, Director Frazier, just this week, actually, and have asked him to plan maybe in June or July to come and do a work session with the council.
Thank you for doing that. And again, like I mentioned, that was offered by them. Thank you for following up and doing that. I think that'll be good input for us. Anyone else that has any items for future council work sessions? Anybody? Okay. Councillor Pierce.
Okay, I move we adjourn to executive session regarding litigation, Wyoming Statute 16-4-405, lowercase a, Roman numeral 3.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded for us to adjourn to executive session. All in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we're going to take about a 5-minute break.